So you yourself are deeply experienced in the realm of information warfare, which has been a centerpiece of all of these weaponization activities for the last, decade plus, right? So how does it work?
Yeah. Well, a couple of things. So first, you have to, an event has to occur. So you have to create something, create an event, and the event that occurs is in most cases staged, and it might be demonstrations on a street, it may be demonstrations in a square, overseas. It might be the assassination of an individual. It might be a conflict between two warring parties, literally, a conflict overseas, like in Africa. I saw a lot of this, and I saw it certainly in Central America in my early days in the military. So you have to have an event. You create the event. Once you create the event, then you take the components of what part of your plan, and that's the intelligence community. It's members of Congress in our country, as members of Congress, because they're going to be part of it. Some of them are going to be witting, some will be unwitting, but you know what their behaviors will be once the event occurs because you've studied them enough. This is where your intelligence system kicks in, and the intelligence system is not 17 agencies and and hundreds of thousands of people. It's actually a small group, so you have to have a small group of people that are part of this event crisis moment, and they have to be ready to go to town, go to work, right? You also have to have your elements inside the media, and you have to have, in our case, you have to have staff over in certain parts of the government. So the bureaucrats, right? So there's bureaucrats in Congress, there's bureaucrats in the Department of Defense, there's bureaucrats in the Department of State. So these are the elements of your plan, right? So when you're looking at the plan, you have the event, part of the strategy for the plan is you've got to have all of the different pieces in place. And once you've said, this is what we're going to do, we're going to overthrow this country, we're going to assassinate this president, we're going to destroy Donald Trump, and we're going to get him to quit, or we're going to maybe do something worse. I mean, there's been 2 assassination attempts on Trump, just in the last year alone, year plus now. And we still don't know the results of those. We don't know the outcomes of those. So you got to have.
You mean we don't know how they
we
happened.
We don't know. We don't know who's behind it.
Right. Okay.
We don't really know who's behind it.
Yeah.
In the case of President Trump, the event was an unexpected event. His victory in 2016. So when they failed to get Hillary Clinton over the hump and win the election in 2016. Then it kicked in, and now we know the 8th of December, now it's going to be a very famous meeting now, 8 December that Barack Obama led. So they had the event, a Trump victory. They now needed to organize quickly, and they needed to begin to select targets that they were going to go after. The principal target was Donald Trump. Principal target was get him out of the way. Like maybe we could figure out a way to get him out before he even took assumed the presidency in January of 2017. When that happened, then they had to figure out the next step, which was the 25th Amendment. People tend to forget these things, but these are all things that happened, and they wanted to do a 25th Amendment really before that noise was out there, before the Mueller investigation, before Mueller was even appointed. They were talking about a 25th Amendment, right?
And the Mueller investigation, of course, is the investigation into so-called Russian collusion.
Right, and the Mueller investigation, he gets appointed, and now he's going to run an investigation that we now know is based on a complete, it's a fabricated lie. It was a lie to the American people, but it was all based on an event. So once that event kicked in, they being the Obama administration and elements of his national security team, a very small group, and within each one of their organizations, they had to have people that were adherents to their way of thinking. And we have learned about these small groups since Trump has come back into office, one of which was up at the National Security Agency, not too far from here, up to about another hour and a half away. And where recently Tulsi Gabbard, for example, fired the director of National Security Agency and the deputy director of the National Security Agency because they were doing things inside to undermine the current president of the United States, in this case, Trump, because he won again, right? Another event. So these are events that occurred. They had to scramble in the 2016 timeframe because it was unexpected. So now they had to figure out how to take their plan and put it into a different set of motions, right? One of the very famous lines by a person that was the deputy head of counterespionage for the FBI, his name was Peter Strzok, and he basically talks about an insurance policy again prior to the election. If in case he wins, we have an insurance policy. So what did that mean? And now we're starting to see almost a decade later what that means, right? We now see the evidence in black and white of what they decided to do back in 2016 to not just subvert Donald Trump, okay, whatever people want to think about Donald Trump, but to subvert the will of the American people. That's as weaponized a government as you can actually have in a system of government that is supposed to be based on the rule of law, right? And we're only based on the rule of law if we follow them. And there is clear evidence now that laws were broken and violated, and we'll see how this plays out over the next couple of weeks, because people in this country are demanding accountability. And I do think that a big component of this is trust. American people don't trust our government anymore. They don't even trust the government that Trump now is in charge of. They're having a really difficult time.